My heart is where the Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find the Hebrew home. Hebrew home, Hebrew home. Good morning, Hebrew home. My home, my heart is where the Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find the Hebrew home.
Good morning, everyone. I am your host, Olivia Cohen, coming in live from the Dorfner Judaica Museum here at the Hebrew Home. And this is Good Morning Hebrew Home. Today is June 1st, everyone. We have officially entered into the month of June. It is also National Olive Day. I don't know if anybody knows this, but olive trees are incredibly hardy. And an olive tree's average lifespan is about 500 years. The oldest olive trees have reportedly been around for a few thousand years. So according to nationalday.com, the idea of extending an olive branch to promote peace dates back to ancient Greek and Roman cultures. Someone who was losing a war in those times would use an olive branch to show sign of peace. It is also said in the Bible, the Noah Ark story included a dove carrying an olive branch to indicate it had found land, considered a metaphor for peace between God and man. And it also, olives are really great along 2 martini glasses, vodka, vermouth, and a jar of olives. So happy National Olive Day. But also, this day commemorates the beginning of LGBT Pride Month. LGBT Pride Month is to commemorate the Stonewall riots, which occurred at the end of June in 1969. As a result, many Pride events are held during this month to recognize the impact LGBT people have had in the world. Many people celebrate this month wearing rainbow gear or flags. And speaking of the rainbow flag, it was actually politician Harvey Milk who asked a talented designer friend, Gilbert Baker, to design an all-encompassing symbol to take on San Francisco's Pride March in 1978. The New York Pride Parade is one of the largest and most well-known parades to take place, with over 2 million people estimated to have taken part in 2019. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the foundational Pride celebrations in cities like New York and San Francisco. It is also the 5-year anniversary of the Supreme Court decision that legalized same-sex marriage. Most Pride participants this year will be homebound. That means organizers have had to be creative. New York festivities will include a 2-hour broadcast on June 28th with performances from stars like Janelle Monáe and Billy Porter. Organizers have also announced an online human rights conference focusing on the needs of the community in 2020, such as mental health and voting rights. We will have our own Pride Month concert later this month, so stay tuned for that. A little later, Koreen Rogers, our Transport Operations Manager, will be joining us. So we have a great show planned for you today. Let's get into the news. Let's take a look at the weather in our neck of the woods. Today will be mostly sunny. Temperatures will reach 72 degrees. Let's move to this day in history. June 1st, 1938, Superman, created by American writer Jerry Siegel and Canadian artist Joe Shuster, made his first appearance in DC Comics' Action Comics series, issue number 1, which sold for 10 cents. 1967, one of the most iconic LPs from the 1960s music, is released by the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, selling over 8 million copies worldwide. Also this day, 2010, Entertainment Weekly announced that Homer Simpson was to be named the best television and film character of the past 20 years. The cartoon character was best known for his love of eating and oafish antics. The Simpsons character beat out Harry Potter and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who came in as second and third on the magazine's list. Our famous birthday for today is Marilyn Monroe. Born June 1st, 1926, her real name was Norma Jean Mortensen. She was an actress, American actress, model, and singer, famous for playing comedic blonde bombshell characters in the 1950s and early 1960s. She was a top-billed actress for only a decade, but her films grossed $200 million, which is the equivalent to $2 billion in 2019. More than half a century later, she continues to be a major popular cultural icon. By 1953, Monroe was one of the most marketable Hollywood stars. She had leading roles in the film noir Niagara and the comedies Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, How to Marry a Millionaire, and The 7-Year Itch, which took place in 1955. That was one of the biggest box office successes of her career. She won a Golden Globe for Best Actress for her work in Some Like It Hot in 1959, which is a critical and commercial success. Her last completed film was the drama The Misfits in 1961. Here's a quote from Marilyn Monroe. "We're all of us stars, and we all deserve to twinkle." No resident birthdays today, so stay tuned for tomorrow for our birthdays for June 2nd. Also happening today, let's see what food services is cooking up for us. Today's lunch will be sloppy joes on a bun with mixed vegetables and peaches for dessert. Dinner will be butternut squash soup, macaroni and cheese, peas and carrots, and a shortbread cookie for dessert. And don't forget, everybody, we are still waiting on some viewer mail, so if you'd like, you can pass that along to your friendly activities staff person on any of your neighborhood floors, and we will read it here on the show live. Or you can call, pick up your phone, and dial extension 2813. Again, that's 2813. Leave us your comments, questions, or anything you'd like to share with us, and we will read it on the show. So today we have Koreen Rogers joining us, our Transport Operations Manager. Welcome, Karin.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show. You've been a person that we've really wanted to have on, especially because you're one of our Hebrew Home heroes.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody saw, but Karin was one of our Hebrew Home heroes for all that you've done here, especially during this time. But before we get to that, I want to ask you, what does your role entail as being the operations manager of transport?
At Hebrew Home, I help to facilitate the residents going to and from clinic, rehab, and activity appointments, beauty parlor, and other things that they have happening around the home.
So what are some of the other things like?
They have special concerts, special events, Jeffrey Lyons event, and things like that.
And then even like going to the bank.
Going to the bank, going to the cafe, going to the dining room.
Yeah.
Going anywhere, going to the computer room, going outside.
Yeah.
Give me a ride anywhere, Karin.
Anywhere. So you basically, when we say transportation here, it is really helping the residents get from point A to point B, whether it's something that's a scheduled activity or physical therapy or clinic appointment, and then outside of that,
Or anything they need to get done.
anything they need to get done, yeah. So I don't know, how many residents in a day, ballpark number, would you say that you transport from a total of clinic, rehab, activities, and then all those other things in between?
I want to say more than 250 residents.
Wow. Wow.
And not just getting them there, getting them back.
Right, right,
Or to multiple things that they have to get done.
right. So, I mean, residents here, pre, what we have currently going on without having as many programs taking place on the main floor, but they could wake up in the morning and then go down to the art studio and then exercise class and then go back for lunch and then have to go to rehab and a clinic appointment and come back for a concert, let's say, all in one day, and you're making sure that that resident is being brought there and brought back.
Correct.
Your team.
Also saying, wait a minute, I changed my mind. I'm going to get my nails done.
Yeah, yeah.
So get me there.
Right, and beauty parlor.
Right.
Right. So basically just their ability to have access to all the things that we have to offer here, and also their ability to have their own schedule, and you guys really working with them to make sure they get to those things.
Right. It's important to help them, like, withstand the quality of life that they're used to having.
Yeah.
And Like you and I, we say, oh, today we're scheduled to do this, and then at the spare moment, we say, no, I don't want to do that today.
Mhm.
It's a nice outside, take me here. Or I want to get my hair done. Or I have an appointment that I forgot.
Mhm.
So things change throughout the day, and we try to accommodate the needs that they have at that moment.
Right, right, because we're all just human beings
Right.
that can change our mind and want to do something
something
else. Yeah. And so your job is to make sure that your team is doing all that they need to do, spread out in all the places, that every area is covered, that you have enough people
Correct.
to bring those residents down. And then also you step in a lot often to transport yourself. I always
Right.
see you on the main floor with proper foot gear on.
Ready to go.
Ready to go. So I know that currently, given what's going on with coronavirus, we are doing a lot of social distancing, and we haven't had a lot of our community programs we haven't had any of our community programs taking place. Clinic and all these things are closed. So transport is not doing the things that normal picture that you were just describing.
No, transport is now doing FaceTime virtual calls. So each day we go to a different neighborhood, greet the residents, and help them call their families and get a normal sense of what they're used to having on a day-to-day. So seeing them talk to their grandchildren or their mom or their children, their nephews, their niece, their grandkids, make them very, very happy.
Yeah. And I know the numbers are similarly in the high hundreds.
Yeah, we do about 250 to 280 a week
Wow.
at best.
Right.
But we try to accommodate every resident, seeing someone or speaking to someone or a loved one.
Mhm.
It makes them feel happy. It gives them a sense of, okay, things are going to get back to normal. Things are going to be okay.
Mhm.
And they feel good seeing them.
How has that been for you to be witness to these, helping this come together, families come together with one another?
It's rewarding. You dial the number and you see this black screen, and then when their face appears, like the biggest smile ever for the person that they're calling and also for the resident.
Yeah.
Some of them crying, they're singing songs, they're so excited just to see them. So that it's a pleasure just to help them.
It sounds like before you were bringing people to a certain point to either get to their
Destination.
appointment, their destination, and now you're actually bringing people together.
Right.
So transport's still,
Transport's transporting.
yeah, in a more virtual way now,
Right.
yeah. So I know that you've had other roles here in the home before. I mean, you wear many hats in your role. You've always worn many hats. So what were some of the other roles that you had here at the home?
I worked as a nursing assistant from 2002 to 2014 before I transferred to transport services. So I wanted to change my role and also still help the resident, but see them when they're enjoying the things that they like to do more versus bedside when they're in bed or feeling well or not feeling well.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to see them in a happier state of things that and learn more about them.
Yeah.
Because you have more time to conversate and learn things about each other.
Yeah. It sounds like you've had an opportunity to like see the full picture of the resident, where, you know, from where they are on the floor and then
Yeah.
now off the floor.
It's a transformation when
Yeah.
you see them downstairs.
Yeah.
They're very much happy being involved in activities and doing different things that they like to do.
Mm-hmm.
But they still never forget I was in nursing. Karin, can you help? Can you put me on the bed? So I never forget where I started.
Mm-hmm.
Because they always
feels
need
like,
something.
yeah, it feels like you always carry that part with you. It's a hat that's
Natural.
always there, yeah. What does life look like for you outside of here? When you're not at the home and you take off all your many hats and you go home, what is the hat that you're wearing when you're at home?
Then I become a mom.
Yeah.
I become a cook. I become a cleaner. I become a friend.
Yeah.
You know. But my day is busy from here to another full-time job when I get home.
Definitely. How many kids do you have at home with
I
you?
have 3 kids. I have 2 girls and 1 boy and 3 dogs. So I have a family of 7.
That's right.
So from taking care of my kids to taking care of my pets to helping take care of the residents, it's a 24-hour job.
Yeah. And they're all home, and everyone's
Everyone's
off for the
home.
summer now.
And we'll be off for the summer as of June 26th.
Oh, okay.
So we're remote learning,
Mhm.
virtually learning through the computer as well as virtual visits here.
Wow. So, and your family is all here in the Bronx?
Yes, they're here.
Have you always been living in the Bronx, or did you
I
have?
grew up in Queens,
Oh, me too.
from Springfield.
That's right. I remember that.
So I moved to the Bronx with my husband and then later with my kids.
So, at what point in life did you, after living in Queens and then entering into your career, did you realize that you wanted to become a CNA?
Well, I started working with children and the population of young children with like mental disabilities,
Mhm.
and then came to the nursing home.
Oh.
And they said, okay, this might be for me. Then I went back to working with young kids.
Mhm.
Said, okay, this is it for me.
Wow.
Let me go back to the older age population, which I think is for me.
Wow. Did you always know that you wanted to be in like a healthcare position, or?
Actually, no, I thought I wanted to work with children. I thought wrong. That's not for me. Working with the elderly is for me. It just finds a way to find me. It finds me.
Yeah. What is it about the working with the older adult population that you really connect to, that kept finding you?
I think understanding them and listening to them and not seeing them as children, like they don't know what they want, or because they're saying this, that they're not saying something that they feel.
Mhm.
They're saying this because this is what they feel, this is what they want. And having some empathy and realizing, okay, this is going to be their home, make it as much as a home for them as you want it to be for you. And we too are going to get old. So you want to treat those how you want to be treated.
Right. Right.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So as much as they might get aggravated or frustrated or have a long day, you just like to, okay, what can I do to help you have a better day?
Right.
So even when they're the most upset with me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still kind to them.
Yeah.
So then they'll give up and they'll be kind to me.
Yeah. I
And
think
that's
that
how
you,
it works.
I think you have a great ability to empathize with the older adults and to see that, aging is for all of us and we will all be there. And I think that's something that, from what I'm hearing, it's such a thread that ties between everyone who's been on the show, is that there's something special about working with the older adult population that has really brought us to it.
And they tell me it's not as easy as it looks.
Mhm.
We say, oh, when I get this old, I'm going to do.
Right.
It doesn't come easy.
So they've imparted some wisdom in you.
They teach me a lot.
What is some of the best things that residents have taught you?
They tell you, like Ida just said,
Yeah.
Koreen, this day will pass. This too shall pass. Each day is its own.
Mhm.
Don't take your frustration out from yesterday, today.
Mhm.
You want to have a better day tomorrow. So just forget about it.
Right. I think that is so true, that we learn so much from our residents
Sure.
here and give us so much wisdom that they share from their long lives. That it's hard not to just take those nuggets with us when we go throughout our days working with them.
And they say, don't tell me what to do. I'm older than you. Little
You're
girl,
right.
I know a lot more than you. And in fact, they do.
And they absolutely
They
do.
absolutely do.
So, I mean, there's just so many things as we're talking in this conversation about how you've been so drawn to the older adults and how you've wanted to see like a fuller picture in your role and changing your roles here and helping with the FaceTime. And it makes so much sense why you were nominated to be a Hebrew Home Hero on our Instagram page and Facebook and social media that we had. What was that like for you to know that somebody nominated you and then also to see it on social media?
I was so surprised. It was very sweet of Michaela. I was very ecstatic. Like, wow, okay, they see the work that I'm doing. Also, the families are very familiar with me. Now, after FaceTime, everybody, hi, Karin. Or when they don't see the bun, they don't recognize me behind the mask and the show. But we've grown relationships with
Yeah.
different families.
Yeah.
You know.
And then I'm sure, how was your family? Did they know that you were on social media as a?
I showed them. I said, look at me, guys, like my picture.
Will they be watching on YouTube later? when
They
this is
will
on?
be watching this show. They're waiting to
Good.
see.
I'm
They're
so
waiting to
excited.
see.
Well, Koreen, it's been so great having you on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for chatting with us for a little bit and sharing all the many hats you wear, whether it's here or at home, with your kids and your dogs. And thank you for all that you do here. I'm so happy that we had an opportunity to just highlight all the things that you do.
Thank you. Thank you for
so
having
much.
me. And I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Koreen. Thanks, Karin. You guys can see her. She will be all over the place. Where will Karin not be is really the question. But helping with FaceTimes and helping residents is just what she always does. So you can see Karin everywhere and also on this episode later on. Let's move into our positive news story. Even in quarantine, Prince William and Duchess Kate are turning up on screens across the United Kingdom, including at a bingo game in Wales nursing home where they called numbers. After a brief pause in the early days of the coronavirus lockdowns, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have resumed their royal round of engagements. Only they're doing it via video conference calls and posting on their social media. Their mission: cheering on healthcare and social workers and the people they're caring for during the pandemic crisis. On Wednesday, speaking from their video room at the country retreat in Norfolk, they called into the Shire Hall nursing home in Cardiff, Wales, where they chatted with masked and gowned carers about how they're coping with the challenges. Prince William and Duchess Kate of Cambridge call a bingo game video conference call to a nursing home. They said, "I've never known Welsh people to not know how to have fun," Will said to Laughter. The Cambridges lived for years in North Wales before they married in 2011. Then it was on to the bingo hall, a colorfully decorated room at the facility where residents usually watch movies. In a video of exchange released by Kensington Palace, the couple sat on either side of a red bingo roller drum filled with colorful number balls as elderly residents waved at them on the split screen. "Catherine's going to pick out the first ball," Will said. "The first number is 58, she called, holding the green piece up to the camera. Afterwards, they congratulated the winner and chatted with some of the residents before signing off. Before the game, they heard from care workers about how Shire Hall, like other nursing homes, has adapted to the crisis, including greater use of technology to allow residents to stay in touch. Prince William, who turns 38 next month, has been especially active in video calls, carrying on conversations with care workers throughout the country this month to talk about the mental health challenges they face, including the need to self-isolate to protect their own families. During one call on May 14th, he heard about the Care Workers Charity, which is trying to support workers in the social care sector. If there's hopefully some positivity that comes out of this horrendous time, it's that there's a light shown on all of the wonderful things you do and on the social care sector, and it allows people to acknowledge, respect, and appreciate everything that you are doing," he said on the call, according to a palace statement. So there we have it, a royal game of bingo, and I know from our residents here, we sure do love a good game of bingo. That's our show for today, everyone. Remember to tune in to Channel 8 later today. We have Song Celebration with Claire at 11, Exercise with Deborah at 1:30, and Your Hit Parade with Larry at 3:30. And don't forget, you can catch this episode of Good Morning Hebrew Home on Channel 88 or at 6:30 on YouTube. Join us for a host tomorrow, David Pomerantz. Once again, this has been Olivia Cohen with Good Morning Hebrew Home. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, same channel. Cohen out.